What is the career progression within a consulting firm? My name is Luke. I spent 3 years working at a big three consulting firm, and I will give you the specifics for the different roles, responsibilities, and compensation brackets for each position. Given there are many nuanced differences between consulting firms and roles and titles and compensation, I'm going to bucket these into large categories and talk about the 4 main roles at a consulting firm. We will talk about post-undergrad, pre-MBA, often called an analyst or an associate. We will talk about a post-MBA role, which is typically called a consultant. 3 to 6 years post-MBA, which is typically some kind of manager title. And then we will talk about a partner, which is typically 6 years plus out from MBA. So let's walk through each of these buckets. And I'm going to start with post-undergrad. So what are the roles? What are the responsibilities? What's the compensation? So these role titles are typically analyst or associate consultant are the broad titles you will see for being hired out of undergrad. Your primary responsibilities will be doing analysis, will be making slides, will be the engine of any case team. You are going to be the one that will be editing slides. You will be in the Excel models. You will be performing the analysis. Depending on the case, you may interact with some clients and run some low-level client meetings, but again, very case dependent, very firm dependent. Another responsibility, you are going to be the one that is going to be planning internal team events. So if you have a case team meeting every week or you have team dinners, this is the responsibility of someone that is fresh out of undergrad. From my perspective, compensation ranges somewhere from $75,000 to $125,000. That includes base salary, that includes bonus, that includes some kind of stipend or signing bonus. Big three or MBB firms will be on the higher end of that range, where big four, more boutique firms will be on the lower end of that range. So next bucket will be consultants. These are typically 3 years after MBA. You can be promoted directly from an analyst or an associate role, but are more often hired directly from top MBA programs. The roles I've seen have typically been called consultant. While there's some variation in titles, responsibilities are typically owning an individual work stream. So you need the ability to manage your process independently. So if that is running analysis, if that is building the slides, if that is thinking through the storyline for your specific section in the case, this is what is expected of a consultant. You will likely be asked to run some lower level client meetings, and you may have some direct client maps, and you could potentially be managing an associate or an analyst, but this is very case dependent and firm dependent. Sometimes you will have supervisor responsibilities, sometimes you won't. You will likely need to do some analysis and some slide building, but the focus is more on managing an independent work stream and running your process independently. Compensation I have seen is probably somewhere between $150,000 and $225,000, again, all in. So base salary plus bonus, plus signing bonus, variable across firms. Third category, managers. So your job as the manager is to run an individual project. The types of titles I've seen have been manager, have been senior manager, project leader, principal. The responsibilities of a manager is to execute an individual project, which is really comprised of 2 parts. One is managing downward. So that is managing the consultants or the analysts or the associates on your team and ensuring they are executing a high quality of work that is aligned with the scope you're trying to achieve. You may need to do some slide iteration. You'll probably write the executive summary on your decks. You'll probably do some minor edits, but the focus of your work will not be on executing analysis. It will not be on building slides. It will be on managing your team to achieve a high quality of output and enabling those under you to create the best work possible. That is managing down. And then there's also managing up. There is communicating the insights to internal stakeholders, right? So you have a partner team, getting their buy-in on the pages you're making. It is engaging with them at the right level. It's ensuring you have the proper cadence for meetings and for internal syncs so that everyone is aligned on the process. And then you also have external communication. So you will have the client that you are working for. You're likely to run a lot of the meetings and have direct client counterparts that you are presenting to. So really the one giving most of the analysis, where communication is key, and being able to effectively synthesize the insights and communicate it in a cohesive way will be very, very valuable for this job. really everything that falls into managing the day-to-day execution of a case. Compensation, again, this is variable, but probably somewhere between $250,000 to $400,000 a year all in. Let's go to the last bucket, which are typically the big ballers or the partners, or sometimes called managing directors or managing director partners or senior partners. Really anything that means you have an ownership stake in the firm you're working for. What are your responsibilities? Really, the primary responsibilities of a partner is to sell more work. It is to manage the client relationship with the buyer so that you can sell more work. Lower level partners may be more involved in the day-to-day execution, but as you get more and more senior, you're more and more likely to simply opine on high-level topics and to probably show up for the first KC meeting and then maybe the final steerco. And that is all really the core executional team will see of you, as it's the partner's job to make sure the next case is sold. It's their job to make sure that the client that's actually writing the checks and that is actually paying for this case is happy with the output. Job responsibilities are much more communication focused, much more relationship focused, which is how do you make sure the customer, which is the buyer, which is the client, is happy with your output and are likely to buy more work from you. So partner compensation, candidly, this is kind of a black box and not a lot of people really know what any of these partners make. It is certainly over $500,000 a year at a lot of firms. Probably many are making well over $1 million if you're pretty senior, but variable depending on how senior you are, what is your book of business, how many clients are you bringing in, and how much work are you actually selling, but very variable across many different partners. Certainly enough to live a very, very comfortable lifestyle. If you are interested in more consulting topics, please check out the other videos in this playlist and check out the other videos on our channel.